In the warm river valleys of New Guinea, more than 8,000 years ago, people found a tall grass that wept sweetness when its stalk was crushed. They chewed it raw, drawing juice from the fibers, and called it good. This was sugarcane, and from that island it would begin one of the longest and most troubling journeys in the history of food. The plant traveled slowly at first, carried by traders and travelers across the islands of the Pacific and into Southeast Asia. By around 2,500 years ago, it had reached India, where something remarkable happened. Cooks learned to boil the juice until it dried into brown crystals, a substance that could be stored, carried, and traded. They called these grains shark-era. To the Persians who tasted them, and later the Arabs who carried the cane westward, this was a marvel, honey made without bees. As empires rose and fell, sugar followed power. Arab agriculture spread the crop across the Mediterranean, into Egypt, North Africa, and southern Spain. Returning crusaders brought word of the sweet reed back to Europe, where it remained a rare luxury, locked away with spices and sold by the spoonful as medicine. For most of human history, sugar was a treasure of kings. Everything changed when Europe reached the Americas. Christopher Columbus carried sugarcane on his second voyage, and the warm, wet climate of the Caribbean and Brazil proved perfect for the thirsty grass. Plantations spread across the islands and the coasts, and with them came a hunger for labor that would darken the centuries to come. Sugar is brutally demanding to grow. The cane must be planted, weeded, and cut by hand under a punishing sun, then crushed and boiled within hours before the juice spoils. To meet Europe's swelling appetite, planters turned to the transatlantic slave trade. Over nearly 400 years, more than 12 million enslaved Africans were carried across the ocean, and a great many were forced into the cane fields. Sugar, more than gold, drove that terrible commerce. The sweetness on European tables was paid for in human lives. By the 1700s, sugar had transformed the world economy. It sweetened the tea, coffee, and chocolate that fueled European cities, and it built vast fortunes for merchants and nations. Whole islands were stripped of forest and given over to a single crop. The pattern was set. An empire's sweet tooth reshaped continents. To understand the plant itself is to understand its power. Sugarcane is a giant grass that can grow taller than a person, storing sugar in its jointed stalk. It thrives in tropical heat with heavy rain and rich soil, and it can be harvested again and again from the same roots. Today, the cane is often cut by towering machines. The fields sometimes burned first to clear the leaves, though much of the world still harvests by hand. The stalks are rushed to mills, crushed between heavy rollers, and the juice is boiled and spun into the white crystals we know. Brazil and India now lead the world, together growing well over half of all sugarcane. The crop covers more than 26 million hectares of the earth, and humanity produces around 2 billion tons of cane each year. From it comes not only sugar but also ethanol fuel, rum, and electricity burned from the leftover fiber. A plant once chewed for pleasure now powers cars and lights homes. Yet the old costs have not vanished. Sugarcane farming still strains water supplies, clears habitats, and in some places relies on harsh and underpaid labor. And the sweetness itself has turned on us. The world now eats more sugar than any body was built to handle, feeding epidemics of obesity, diabetes, and decay. The story of sugarcane is the story of desire made into landscape. A humble grass from a Pacific island became the engine of empires, the cause of unspeakable suffering, and the quiet companion of nearly every meal we eat. It reminds us that nothing we crave is ever truly free, and that the cost of sweetness is written into the soil of half the world.